colder than the void. The self-destructive logic of quantum computing. To operate, a quantum processor must be chilled to less than 15 millikelvin, a temperature colder than the natural vacuum of interstellar space, a feat essential for shielding its fragile logic from the destructive force of thermal energy. Yet, an analysis of the core engineering from today's leading quantum labs reveals a profound paradox. The very control wires needed to scale the machine's intelligence also act as perfect conduits for a fatal influx of heat. This investigation deconstructs the architecture of this self-defeating system. From the multi-stage refrigerators, isolating the quantum core, to the thermodynamic laws that impose a fundamental wall on computational progress. The operational viability of a quantum computer is predicated on a principle of radical isolation. Its computational power arises not from the definitive logic of silicon transistors, but from the manipulation of quantum mechanical phenomena, superposition and entanglement, which can exist only within a closed system, shielded from the randomizing influence of the external world. These states are not merely properties, but fragile, probabilistic relationships that encode information in a way fundamentally inaccessible to classical physics. Superposition allows a quantum bit, or qubit, to represent multiple values simultaneously, while entanglement links the fates of multiple qubits into a single correlated system, enabling a computational space that grows exponentially. However, this delicate architecture is perpetually threatened by a process known as quantum decoherence. The irreversible leakage of quantum information into the surrounding environment, effectively erasing the computation as it happens. The principal agent of this environmental sabotage is thermal energy. At any temperature above absolute zero, atoms within a material are in constant, chaotic motion. In the solid-state materials used for superconducting processors, such as those developed by Google Quantum AI. This energy manifests as quantized lattice vibrations, called phonons. A phonon is not an abstract concept of heat, but a discrete, particle-like packet of kinetic energy, traveling through the system's physical structure. For a qubit whose quantum state is defined by an infinitesimally small energy difference, an encounter with a single phonon can be a catastrophic event. The energy imparted by such a collision is often more than sufficient to break the precise phase coherence that underpins superposition, collapsing the qubit's probabilistic state into a definite, classical 0 or 1, and thereby corrupting the calculation. This fundamental vulnerability is starkly illustrated by analyses of error rates in processors like Sycamore, where thermal noise is consistently identified as a primary contributor to computational faults. The scale of this energy imbalance is immense, and clarifies why conventional cooling is entirely inadequate. The energy of a microwave photon used to manipulate a superconducting qubit is on the order of microelectron volts, whereas the average thermal energy of a particle at room temperature is thousands of times greater. Attempting to perform a quantum calculation under ambient conditions is therefore analogous to trying to discern a whispered message in the midst of a deafening industrial forge. The quantum signal is instantly and completely overwhelmed by the classical noise. Consequently, the creation of an environment colder than deep space is not an engineering extravagance, but a direct and unavoidable prerequisite dictated by the laws of quantum mechanics. As consistently demonstrated in research published in journals like Nature Physics, the primary function of the cryogenic apparatus is to reduce the system's thermal energy to a level where the population of ambient phonons is so low that the probability of a qubit interacting with one during a computation becomes negligible, thus preserving the coherence required for logic. The quantum state's existence is contingent on an environment where thermal energy is so suppressed that the kinetic vibrations of surrounding atoms effectively fall silent. To descend into the operational heart of a quantum computer is to navigate a meticulously engineered thermal gradient. A journey made possible by the primary technology of the field, The dilution refrigerator. This apparatus, often appearing as a gleaming, multi-layered cylinder of gold-plated copper, visually described as a chandelier, is not a singular machine, but a nested series of thermal battlements, designed to repel heat at every stage. The architecture of these systems, as perfected by manufacturers like Bluefors and Oxford Instruments, for platforms such as the IBM Quantum System 2, begins its work at ambient room temperature, approximately 300 Kelvin. The initial and most significant drop in temperature is achieved by a mechanical cryocooler, typically a pulse tube, which uses the compression and expansion of helium gas in a closed cycle, to cool successive plates within the chandelier, down to roughly 50 Kelvin, and then to a crucial threshold of 4 Kelvin. This 4K stage represents a pivotal transition point in the physical environment. It is the temperature at which the wires connecting the system can become superconducting, eliminating electrical resistance and its associated heat generation, while also serving as the thermal anchor for the final, most sophisticated stage of cooling, below 4 Kelvin. Conventional refrigeration methods become profoundly inefficient, necessitating a shift to a process that leverages the unique quantum properties of helium isotopes. The core of the dilution refrigerator relies on a mixture of helium-3 and helium-4, which, below approximately 87 Kelvin, spontaneously separates into two distinct liquid phases. Due to quantum statistical effects, a lighter, helium-3 rich phase floats atop a denser, helium-3 dilute phase. The cooling mechanism is a continuous thermodynamic cycle, analogous to evaporation. Helium-3 atoms are actively pumped from the dilute phase, which creates an osmotic pressure that drives other helium-3 atoms from the concentrated phase, to cross the boundary into the dilute phase. This transition requires energy, which the atoms absorb from their immediate surroundings, in the form of latent heat of mixing. This constant, forced migration of helium-3 atoms across the phase boundary acts as a powerful and continuous cooling engine, drawing heat directly from the system's coldest point, known as the mixing chamber. It is this process, a direct manipulation of quantum fluid dynamics, that allows the mixing chamber, where the quantum processor is mounted, to reach and maintain stable operating temperatures in the low millikelvin range, often between 10 and 20 mK. This entire multi-stage structure functions as a system for systematically pumping entropy, or thermal disorder, outward from the central processor. Each plate of the chandelier intercepts and radiates away heat that would otherwise conduct down to the colder levels, ensuring that the quantum evaporation of helium-3 in the mixing chamber only has to contend with the final, residual thermal load. The engineering is a testament to a deep understanding of low-temperature physics, creating a cascade of decreasingly energetic environments that culminate in one of the coldest sustained points in the known universe. This is not merely making something cold. It is the construction of a pocket of extreme thermodynamic order, in which the fragile logic of quantum mechanics can be permitted to unfold, without being instantly shattered by the chaotic energy of the classical world. The final descent to millikelvin temperatures is achieved not by conventional cooling, but by repeatedly forcing helium-3 atoms to cross a quantum phase boundary, a process that absorbs energy and cools the quantum processor. While the dilution refrigerator represents a pinnacle of cryogenic engineering, its ability to maintain a state of extreme cold is fundamentally challenged by the very purpose of the machine it houses: computation. A quantum processor cannot exist in perfect isolation. It must be connected to, controlled by, and measured from the classical world at room temperature. This necessity gives rise to the wiring paradox, a central and deeply problematic obstacle to scaling quantum hardware. The paradox is this: for every qubit added to a processor to increase its computational power, a corresponding set of control and readout lines, typically miniature coaxial cables, must be run from the external control electronics, Down through the entire thermal gradient of the chandelier to the millikelvin stage. Each of these physical wires, however, acts as an unavoidable thermal bridge, a direct conduit for heat to leak from the warmer outer stages into the ultra-cold sanctum of the quantum chip. This issue is rooted in a fundamental compromise of materials science, a challenge actively being addressed in work emerging from institutions like MIT Research. The laws of physics, specifically the Wiedemann-Franz law, dictate that materials which are excellent electrical conductors are often excellent thermal conductors as well. Engineers face the dilemma of needing wires that transmit high-frequency microwave signals with minimal loss, requiring good electrical conductivity, while simultaneously providing maximal thermal resistance to block heat flow, requiring poor thermal conductivity, while advanced superconducting alloys are used to eliminate resistive heating within the wires themselves. The problem of conducted heat persists. Each wire is carefully anchored to the thermal plates at every stage of the dilution refrigerator, to offload as much heat as possible, yet a residual thermal load inevitably finds its way down to the mixing chamber. For a small-scale processor with a few hundred qubits, this parasitic heat is manageable within the cooling budget of the refrigerator. The crisis emerges with scale, as developers aim for fault-tolerant machines requiring thousands or millions of qubits. The cumulative effect of this heat leakage, becomes catastrophic. A single control line might introduce a negligible heat load measured in nanowatts, but a million such lines create a thermal influx, that can overwhelm the finite cooling power of the helium-3 and helium-4 cycle, which is typically in the microwatt range at base temperature. This escalating thermal burden from the wiring bottleneck threatens to raise the processor's stable operating temperature, pushing it past the critical threshold for maintaining coherence. This forms a veritable refrigeration wall, where adding more qubits and their associated wiring generates more heat than the cryogenic system can remove, leading to a catastrophic spike in quantum error rates. That renders the additional qubits useless. The act of scaling a quantum computer by adding more control wires introduces a cumulative heat load that directly counteracts and threatens to collapse the cryogenic environment, essential for its operation. The scaling challenges posed by thermal leakage are not merely engineering problems to be solved with better materials or more powerful refrigerators. They are symptoms of a confrontation with the fundamental laws of thermodynamics. The intuitive solution to the refrigeration wall, simply to build a more potent cooling system, is ultimately constrained by the third law of thermodynamics. This principle establishes that reaching a state of absolute zero is physically impossible, as it would require an infinite amount of work to extract the final remnants of energy from a system. More practically, it dictates that the efficiency of any refrigeration process diminishes exponentially as the target temperature approaches this absolute limit. Each subsequent millikelvin of cooling demands a disproportionately larger expenditure of energy, meaning that overcoming the ever-increasing heat load from a million-qubit processor by brute force cooling would entail an astronomical and unsustainable energy cost, transforming the problem from one of engineering to one of fundamental economics and energy physics. This thermodynamic barrier is the primary reason that the miniaturization myth, the popular conception of a quantum computer eventually shrinking to the size of a personal device, is fundamentally untenable for the foreseeable future. The computational element, the quantum processor chip itself, is indeed minuscule. However, the true machine is not the chip, but the entire support ecosystem required to create its operational environment. This extensive and power-intensive support infrastructure constitutes the machine's cryogenic footprint. A functional quantum computing installation, such as the IBM Quantum System 2, includes not just the dilution refrigerator and its chandelier, but also racks of control electronics, powerful helium compressors to cycle the cryogenic fluids, complex gas handling systems for managing helium-3 and helium-4 inventories, and robust vacuum pumps to create the initial thermal isolation. This ancillary equipment consumes significant physical space and electrical power, and it cannot be miniaturized. Without violating the principles of thermodynamics and fluid dynamics it relies upon. Therefore, a more accurate paradigm for understanding the physical nature of quantum computers is to compare them not to laptops or servers, but to larger-scale scientific installations like the cryogenic systems at CERN. These facilities are defined by their vast infrastructure, which exists solely to enable experiments at the subatomic level. Similarly, the entire cryogenic footprint of a quantum computer exists to enable computation within a single tiny processor. The physics of thermal management and the unyielding laws of thermodynamics dictate a future in which fault-tolerant quantum computers are not portable objects, but stationary, centralized resources, housed in dedicated industrial-scale facilities, accessible as a utility, rather than owned as a personal device. The fundamental laws of thermodynamics and the vast, irreducible support infrastructure required for cooling mean that the true physical scale of a quantum computer is its massive cryogenic footprint, not its microscopic processor. The pursuit of quantum supremacy is revealed to be a thermodynamic war, fought not against the limits of logic, but against the very physical connections required to manifest it. The profound paradox at the heart of this technology is that the path to greater intelligence is paved with the instruments of its own thermal self-destruction, ensuring that for the foreseeable future, these machines will not be in our hands, but tethered to massive industrial cradles, colder than the void itself. If this level of analysis provides value, consider supporting Dissect Official to help us continue these deep investigations. Given these immense thermal engineering challenges, do you believe the path to scalable quantum computing lies in perfecting cryogenic systems, or in discovering entirely new qubit modalities that can tolerate a warmer environment? Thank you for joining this dissection. We will see you in the next one, where, investigate the materials science preventing limitless fusion energy, by deconstructing the decades-long battle to build a star on Earth.